My first novel in verse read of summer 2022 is Alias Anna. And this is a novel in verse written by Susan Hood with Greg Dawson. So, as I found out, Greg Dawson is actually the son of the main character in this story. The story is nonfiction, it's a true story. It's the story of how Greg Dawson's mom survives during World War II in Ukraine as a Jew. So, it's a novel in verse, which, if you're not familiar with that format, what that means is that the entire story, it's one story, one novel, characters all tell the story together, but the entire thing is told in verse or with poems. So there are different poems that each have a title that move the storyline along. And oftentimes I find readers are kind of intimidated by novels in verse. They're not quite sure how to approach them, and they think maybe reading poetry is more difficult. But I would say if you're somebody who reads a lot of graphic novels where the novel is told with a lot of graphic panels, but you're not quite to reading novels with just words yet, this is kind of a great format to check out and try, because most people find a novel in verse is quicker to read than a full novel, and really gets to the action, gets to the emotion, gets to the heart of things quickly, because that's what poetry does. Poetry says a lot with less words. So novel in verse is a great format to try. The reason that I picked up this book is because I know the author Susan Hood, and I've read another novel in verse that she wrote called Lifeboat 12, which is a historical fiction book. So the characters are made up, but the history of it is true about a different situation in World War II. And this one was really, really good. So when I saw she had a new book out, I was kind of intrigued, and I was really intrigued by the cover too. See, the piano is a scarf. So it turns out Anna is really Zana. And Zana is a Jew living in the Ukraine who is a piano prodigy. In fact, she's training under really important teachers at a really important school in Kharkov at the start of World War II. But the problem is Zana is a Jew. And at the start of the story, Hitler breaks a promise to the Russian Federation, and he invades and takes over Ukraine with the purpose of exterminating all of the Jews. So killing, getting rid of all the Jews, and millions of Jews die all over Europe, but especially where Zana lives during World War II. So Zana has a younger sister who's also a piano prodigy, and Zana and her younger sister and her family, she has a mom and dad, have to figure out how to try to escape, how to hide. The word alias means that you become a different person. You pretend you're someone else. So they have to pretend they're someone else, figure out how to survive. And it's the true story of her survival and how she survives World War II. So it is a hard story. There are some really hard parts. Some of the history is really awful and really difficult, but I think Susan Hood does a really good job of writing this for young readers. So if you want to read something true, even if you're okay with that it's hard, or if you're interested in checking out the novel in verse format, this would be a great book to check out. This is Alias Anna by Susan Hood with Greg Dawson.